Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You're listening to Elton Talks. I'm your host Elton, and in this episode, we're going to be discussing the fourth episode of Loki, the Nexus event. Is the Nexus event the best Loki episode? Yes. Is it the best MCU Disney Plus episode till date? Yes, for now at least. That must give you an idea of how much I like this episode. So let's break it down. The past. The episode opens with young Sylvie playing in Asgard when Renslayer, then as a hunter, arrests Sylvie for crimes against the sacred timeline. This brings up the question, how does the TVA or whatever force know what is a Nexus event? We see what effect the TVA procedures have on young Sylvie, and there's also an hint to her being good when she asks them to help a man. Ultimately, she escapes before being presented before the judge, leaving Renslayer responsible for the escape. Flash forward to present time. Renslayer enters the timekeeper's room and we see the silhouette of the timekeepers, which gave me chills. So, they are real? Renslayer being an hunter before becoming a judge makes total sense and could also be an hint to Kang taking a liking towards her and promoting her if we are going the comic route, and if Kang is really the one who is behind all of this. The lie. Mobius intercepts Renslayer outside the timekeeper's room, where he asks to interrogate Hunter C-20, but Renslayer says she is dead because Sylvie enchanted her and messed her up. Mobius is not able to believe this as she was talking just fine some time ago. This is where it all starts to unravel. The universe wants to break free, so it manifests chaos. Quote by Sylvie. Sylvie tells Loki what she remembers of Asgard as Limitless One is getting destroyed. The dialogue in the scene was very powerful. She says the chaos the universe created was her being born goddess of mischief. But the TVA captured her and she survived and grew up in the end of 1,000 worlds, which clearly says how she sees her life, but also that she thinks being born a girl was her mistake, which is really sad. Sylvie later asks Loki if what makes a Loki is that they are destined to lose, to which Loki says that they lose but they survive, which is perfect, and we have seen it play out countless times by now. I guess a Loki can never die. Loki also points out that Sylvie almost took down the organization that claimed to govern the Order of Time. Could this mean that the Loki is the one that will cause the downfall of whoever is behind this, and hence the TVA has been tasked with catching them? The Nexus event? Hunter B-15 seems very disturbed and determined to capture Loki and Sylvie. She asks about Hunter C-20, but Mobius lies to her as promised to Renslayer. Sylvie reaches out to touch Loki, which sets off the Nexus alarm back at the TVA, leading to their capture. Mobius comments that such a spike was never seen. Is this even supposed to be possible as they were in an apocalypse? But two Lokis getting intimate maybe was the Nexus event. The cameo. Mobius notices the way Loki looks at Sylvie before they reach the interrogation room and later uses it against Loki. Before being put into the time cell, Loki tries to tell Mobius that the TVA is a lie. But would Mobius believe the god of mischief? Lady Sif is back, in a Doctor Strange way, but is also a reference to Norse mythology where Loki cuts Lady Sif's golden hair, turning it black. The scene was funny but also gave us another look into why Loki does what he does. He admits that he thought it'd be funny and he was scared of being alone, to which Sif says that he will always be alone. Mobius may have chosen this particular event from Loki's life to make him realize that he will always be alone, and also maybe to make him realize what a person he has been to others. But it also plays into the current story where Loki has finally found a companion and maybe even love in this case in the form of his own variant in Sylvie. Work your Loki. Mobius tries to get permission from Renslayer to talk to Sylvie, but the friendly conversation soon turns heated when Mobius keeps insisting to interrogate both of them, and we know why. Now I gotta have a prince tell me how the real world works? Quote by Mobius. B-15 asks if Loki said anything which makes Mobius suspicious of sudden change in behavior. He interrogates Loki, asking him to explain his warning about the TVA from earlier, but Loki refuses. Mobius threatens to put Loki back in the time cell, so Loki makes up a story and says that Sylvie was a pawn and that he will get rid of her. Mobius uses this moment to make a story of his own and says that Sylvie was pruned, which makes Loki tear up, but he tries to act alright. Tom Hiddleston once again was great here. Mobius looks through the facade and remarks that he is in love with Sylvie. He adds, two variants of the same being falling for each other would break reality, which is what caused the spike. Loki, in frustration of the lie told to him, tells Mobius the truth, but Mobius calls it a lie in light of all the lies Loki just said and asks for him to be put back in the time cell. You know, of all the liars in this place, and there are a great many, you are the biggest one, because of the lies you tell yourself. Quote by Loki to Mobius. Renslayer tells Mobius that the Timekeepers want him to be present when they prune Loki, and asks him where and when would he want to go, hinting that he might be pruned too. Mobius keeps asking about Sylvie and C20 and ultimately leaves, intentionally taking Renslayer's temp pad. B-15 takes Sylvie to Rock's cart and asks about the deception, but Sylvie explains and shows B-15 her memories. Wunmi Mosaku was great from the beginning of this episode, but when she says, I looked happy, I bet it got to all of us. Mobius finds C20's investigation file where she has got back her memories, and Renslayer abruptly ends the interrogation. Mobius goes to Loki and asks whether he trusts Sylvie enough and that he needs to trust two Lokis, but Loki asks him to believe in a friend instead. In a touching moment, Mobius tells Loki he can be anyone he wants, even someone good. As they exit the time cell, Renslayer is waiting for them, and Mobius gets pruned while talking about one thing he liked, jet ski. I was shocked. A Twitter user said it right. Someone give a medal to the person who cast Owen Wilson as Mobius. He is great as a pair to Loki, but his acting right before he was pruned was something else. Very emotional. Tom Hiddleston once again emotes so well. Renslayer takes Sylvie and Loki to the Timekeepers. Sylvie asks Renslayer what was her Nexus event, and Renslayer with a smirk replies that she doesn't remember, but we know that she does. Loki challenges the Timekeepers to do their worst by killing him, as he has lost count of the number of times he has been killed. A fun callback to all the times he died, and we thought it was real. Sylvie tries to approach the Timekeepers but is rewound by Renslayer. B-15 comes to his rescue, helping Loki and Sylvie out of their control collars and lending Sylvie her sword. Loki takes out the guards, Sylvie takes out Renslayer and goes for the Timekeepers, but as we all felt deep down, they were fake, turned out to be mindless androids, which left us with the question, who created the TVA? Kang, I say. Loki and Sylvie fighting in front of the Timekeepers was very reminiscent of The Last Jedi, where Rey and Kylo fought after taking out Snoke in the throne room. Loki tries to tell Sylvie about his feelings. I feel that he just likes Sylvie's company because she is him and gets him in a way no one else could. But it could also be what Mobius called it, a twisted self romance between two variants of the same being. We need to wait and see. Loki is pruned by Renslayer, the scene mirroring how Loki took out Agent Coulson back in Avengers 1, and the VFX reminding us of Vision's goodbye to Wanda in WandaVision. Another shocking moment. Renslayer goes to attack Sylvie but is overpowered by her. Renslayer asks Sylvie to finish it, but Sylvie insists on hearing all about the TVA. So I guess we finally get to know everything next episode. The hardest I've gasped ever. In the mid-credits scene, Loki, he is alive. Yes, again. He asks whether he is in hell, to which an off-screen voice replies that he will be if he doesn't go with them. We get a look at Richard E. Grant in classic comic Loki costume, Kid Loki, a person of color Loki with what seems like a variation of Mjolnir, and Alligator Loki. I wasn't expecting this, though I knew Richard Grant would be a good old Loki and Kid Loki was coming, but surely not this way. In conclusion, episode 4 is great because so here's hoping to episode 5 and 6 being better than this. Tom Hiddleston has already said that episodes 4 and 5 are the best, but I'm hoping that the finale sticks the landing too. Though we may be heading out with a cliffhanger and potentially with a season 2 of Loki, considering this world that they have built is just too huge to give up in one season of 6 episodes, right? So hopefully we are getting a second season. I'll see you next week with a breakdown of episode 5 of Loki. Until then, take care. Love you 3000.